There's a moment when irony becomes so thick you can almost taste it. That moment happened at Dodger Stadium during Game 4 of the World Series, and it involved two people who've spent years telling us they want nothing more than privacy. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle showed up to one of the most televised events in American sports history, sitting front row center where every camera angle would catch them. You really can't write comedy this good. Think about what led to this. These are the same two people who sued tabloids, gave emotional interviews about invasive paparazzi, and moved across an ocean claiming they needed space to breathe. And where do they choose to make their grand Los Angeles appearance? Behind home plate at a World Series game with 52,000 screaming fans and cameras that could spot a mustard stain from the upper deck. The contradiction wasn't just visible, it was broadcasting in high definition across the entire country. Los Angeles was electric that night. Game 4 had the city on edge, the kind of energy where every pitch matters and every moment could tip history. The stadium glowed under those massive lights, hot dog vendors were slammed, and the crowd was ready to witness something legendary. Then the cameras panned, and there they were. Not tucked away in some private suite where actual privacy seekers would hide. No, Harry and Meghan had claimed prime real estate, dressed head to toe in Dodger blue like they'd just been recruited as the team's official brand ambassadors. The coordination was impressive, almost too impressive, like someone had definitely run this through a stylist beforehand. What made the visual even more striking was who sat directly behind them. Sandy Koufax, a man whose name is synonymous with baseball greatness. Someone who earned legendary status through pure talent and decades of dedication. Next to him, Magic Johnson, an LA icon who built an empire through basketball excellence and smart business moves. These weren't people playing at fame, they were the real deal. And there in front of these giants sat two individuals whose celebrity status came wrapped in controversy, tell-all interviews, and carefully managed PR campaigns. The contrast was almost poetic. Behind them sat legacy. In front sat image. And the crowd could sense that difference immediately. LA crowds don't miss much. This is a city that invented celebrity culture, that knows every trick in the publicity playbook. They can smell authenticity from a mile away, and they definitely know when someone's working an angle. As the game progressed, something became increasingly obvious. Every time that jumbotron found Meghan, she was camera ready. Perfect smile, perfect angle, perfect wave into the void at no one in particular. Hair flawless, posture magazine worthy. She wasn't just at a baseball game, she was performing at one. Each appearance on the big screen felt rehearsed, like she'd been preparing for those exact 3-second intervals all week. Harry told a completely different story with his body language. The man looked like he was being held hostage by circumstance. Shoulders hunched, smile strained, hands gripping each other like they were the only thing keeping him grounded. Every camera cut showed increasing discomfort, like watching someone realize in real time that maybe this wasn't such a great idea after all. He looked like he'd trade places with anyone in that stadium, even the guy cleaning up spilled nachos in section 312. By the third inning, the murmurs had started. People weren't watching baseball anymore. They were watching a performance they never asked for. Then came the moment that would define the entire night. The jumbotron flickered, the crowd noise dipped for just a heartbeat, and suddenly Harry and Meghan's faces filled that massive screen. For a split second, there were gasps, that initial recognition shock. But what followed wasn't applause or cheers. It was booing. Real, unmistakable, rolling through the stadium booing. Not the playful kind you give the opposing team's mascot. This was something else entirely. This was rejection. Cold, public, and impossible to misinterpret. Los Angeles had spoken, and the message wasn't kind. You could see it hit them in real time. Meghan's practiced smile flickered, struggling to maintain that everything's fine expression she'd perfected on countless red carpets. Harry's face went through confusion, embarrassment, maybe even a flash of anger, all compressed into 3 seconds of high-definition footage. The entire stadium felt it, that shift in energy when collective sentiment turns. Even some of the players glanced toward the stands. This wasn't about hating two individuals. This was about being exhausted by an act that had worn out its welcome. People were booing the performance itself, the endless image management, the constant rebranding. The message cut through clearly, we're done with this. What makes this particularly devastating is that none of this was accidental. Reports suggest their PR team had been planning this appearance for weeks. This was supposed to be their soft re-entry into American popular culture, a casual look we're just normal people enjoying a ball game moment. Instead, it detonated spectacularly. Every smile read as calculated. Every wave looked like market research. The warmth they were trying to project came across as strategy, and American audiences have incredibly sensitive detectors for inauthenticity. Harry seemed to understand this as it was happening, his expression growing more deflated with each passing inning, like watching someone realize the dream they'd chased might actually be a different kind of cage. Meghan maintained her composure with impressive determination. That Hollywood training runs deep. If she felt humiliated, she buried it under layers of camera awareness that would make seasoned actors envious. But even the best performance can't overcome a hostile crowd, and this crowd had made its verdict clear. Then came the final twist of ironic fate: the Dodgers lost. Within hours, social media exploded with the Sussex curse narrative. Comments flooded in blaming their presence for the loss. People joked about how even baseball couldn't survive their energy field. Some dug up the fact that Meghan used to support the Toronto Blue Jays, spinning elaborate conspiracy theories. It was brutal, creative, and exactly the kind of internet pile-on that happens when public sentiment fully turns. By the next morning, entertainment analysts were calling it a visibility disaster. PR experts weighed in about brand fatigue and overexposure. One industry insider captured it perfectly, saying they went to look relevant but left looking desperate. That assessment stings because it's accurate. Beneath all the polished appearances and endless reinvention attempts, there's a growing sense that the public has moved past this story. What once felt romantic and rebellious now feels repetitive. Every headline more predictable, every appearance more transparent in its objectives. Consider the strange trajectory here. This is a couple who left royal life specifically to escape constant scrutiny and media pressure. They talked about wanting normalcy, privacy, the chance to raise their children away from flashbulbs and protocol. Yet here they are, strategically placing themselves at maximum visibility events, clearly coordinating with PR teams, essentially chasing the exact attention they claim to be fleeing. In Hollywood, where everyone understands the game, that kind of contradiction doesn't go unnoticed. The crowd is sophisticated and unforgiving. One miscalculation, one moment where the mask slips, and you become yesterday's story faster than you can imagine. That's exactly what happened at Dodger Stadium. In those few minutes under brutal stadium lighting and echoing boos, their carefully constructed image cracked just enough for everyone to see what's underneath. Two people still desperately seeking validation in a city where fame is currency, but authenticity is rare. The cruelest part? In Hollywood, silence is death. And that night, the loudest sound wasn't cheering or bat cracks. It was the deafening silence, that moment of collective indifference when their faces appeared on screen. That absence of enthusiasm spoke volumes that no tabloid headline could match. This wasn't really about baseball. It wasn't even fundamentally about celebrity. It was about something more human and more sad: validation. A royal couple who walked away from titles and tradition are now fighting for attention in a city where literally everyone is famous, and nobody particularly cares about your story unless it's currently trending. Harry, once a soldier who represented duty and service, now seems to represent optics and image management. Meghan, an actress who once played roles, now appears to be living one permanently. There's genuine tragedy in watching two people who wanted to write their own story somehow end up trapped in a sequel they never intended to star in. As stadium lights dimmed and 50,000 people filed toward the exits, one truth crystallized. They hadn't just lost the crowd that night, they might have lost the plot entirely. And somewhere in their Montecito mansion, you can almost guarantee another emergency PR meeting was happening, another strategy session, another image recalibration. Because that's the cycle now, the endless performance, the constant adjustment, the next calculated move. For two people who once said they wanted life away from the spotlight, the painful truth became undeniable that night. They can't live without it anymore. The spotlight doesn't forgive, and it definitely never forgets. Maybe the real story isn't about being booed at a baseball game. Maybe it's simpler and sadder. Two people who fled one stage only to build another one, bigger and brighter, that they can't seem to leave.